Hey guys, thank you for being here once again to watch part 3 of the series, Who Really Controls Our Money. If you have not yet seen parts 1 and 2, I am going to be linking them in the top right hand corner of your video so that you can go and see them. Also, it's going to be linked in the description below in case you're not seeing the info card for whatever reason. Also going to be asking that you please like this video, leave your thoughts down below in the comment section, and if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification icon. Let's get started on part 3. The Federal Reserve and other central banks control money by adjusting its supply and how much it costs to borrow money. This is also known as interest rate. With these tools and as a consequence of human group psychology, central banks create booms and busts in the economy at will, and also to stall and derail an economy by messing with it. Let's take a quick case study. In the year 2000, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan cut interest rates to 1%. He did this to try and fight off the recession from the dot-com computer bubble and encourage people to borrow money. When interest rates are low, if you're borrowing money, you save a whole lot on repaying mortgages. Since the 1% interest rate hadn't been seen at the time since the 1950s, it was a pretty good deal. Greenspan's idea was that he could create a wealth effect. So people would start to buy houses, the prices would go up, and people would feel wealthier and spend more money in the economy, thus stimulating it. Greenspan sure succeeded in getting more people to borrow more money to buy houses. But they borrowed too much, and the result was a 2008 housing bubble. This is a prime example of what can go wrong when central banks mess with an economy. Yes, corrupt bankers have a lot to answer for in their role of the 2008 crisis. But the Federal Reserve has a far bigger long-term impact. Even crazier things are happening in Japan. Their central banks is buying so many stocks that they are the #1 buyer of Japanese stocks in 2016. So they have part ownership of companies with money that they created from nothing. So in essence, it is the central banks that control our economy, and the central and the commercial banking system together that control all of our money. The difference is that central banks can create money at will, while commercial banks need loans to create money. To give you an idea of people's views of central banking when people actually knew what central banking were, here are a couple of examples. In 1881, then President of the United States, James Garfield states, and I quote, "Whoever controls the volume of money in any country is absolute master of all industry and commerce." And when you realize that the entire system is very easily controlled one way or another by a very few powerful men at the top, you will not have to be told how periods of inflation and depression originate. End of quote. Benjamin Franklin in his autobiography stated that the prime reason for the American War of Independence was a battle over who actually controlled and issued the money to the new colonies. Moving on to more modern times, Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman states, and I quote, "The Federal Reserve definitely caused the Great Depression by contracting the amount of currency in circulation by 1/3 from 1929 to 1933, end of quote. So with all that being said, some would argue that the central banks are not inherently a bad thing. They just need to be part of the government and not privately owned. The government should be able to issue its own money for the benefit of the people and shouldn't have to pay a massive interest on its own debt. This was tried at least once in the United States by President Abraham Honest Abe Lincoln. He stated this, and I quote, "The government should create, issue, and circulate all the currency and the credit needed to satisfy the spending power of the government and the buying power of consumers. By adoption of these principles, the taxpayers will be saved immense sums of interest. Money will cease to be master and become the servant of humanity." End of quote. Abraham Lincoln then issued his own government money. It was called the Greenback. No further comment on that story. So I think we'll end the video right here. There's so much more that I could cover about what central banking decisions led to what revolutions around the world. Pretty much, when we all look at it, all revolutions and all wars, when you dig through everything, it all boils down to this very same thing: money. I could also have talked about the new global movement of those who are rejecting the debt-based economic system. People are starting to move their currency into gold and silver and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other altcoins. So naturally, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. However, that's a whole different story for another day. Anyways, if you have watched the video all the way through to the end, congratulations. You're one of the very few who found out the hidden truths about who really control all of our money. I think I've only met about 4 people in real life who have really been aware of the debt-based economic system. It is strangely unknown, but it's as true as anything. I haven't shown you all the quotes of the bankers and the former heads of the Federal Reserves telling you from their own mouths how the system actually works. If this is your first time hearing all of this, I encourage you, as I've said before, to do your own research. Then you'll start to see the bigger picture, and the world today will make a whole lot more sense. If you want some good starting resources, I recommend Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money series. It's here on YouTube, and I'll leave a link to it below. Mike is very knowledgeable, and I've had one small conversation with him about the economy. If you're into reading and you want to know more about the history of the Federal Reserve, I recommend the book by G. Edward Griffin. It is entitled The Creature from Jekyll Island. So anyway, I think I'll stop talking for now. Thanks for watching this video. You've been watching Dei-Rasi Freckleton's Power Move. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you're new. I really hope you learned something from this video, and I'll see you again soon for the next one. Cheers everybody, and walk good.